Okay, there we go, folks. So please anticipate that, every subsequent class time that you log in for lecture, I will be recording, okay? So welcome to class. I hope you're doing well. Lots of new semester kind of items to go over. What I thought we would do, we'll cover the syllabus, and then I'll give you folks an opportunity to interact with each other because, remote is difficult because you don't get to see each other or interact with each other so well. And that's really a detriment. It's something that I don't like. So I'll give you a chance to interact with each other for a few moments, and then we'll go into the electronic resources we're going to rely on this semester, from mastering genetics to Mathematica. And we'll talk about these things before we do any content. Maybe we'll get content today. I'm not sure. We'll see. Okay. So please bear with me. I want to share my screen with you at this time. And I want to bring up the course syllabus. Okay. And from time to time, I will type in information or questions in the chat window. I want to encourage you to ask questions along the way. Probably easiest to type into the chat window, but if I'm missing your question and it's something that's really important to you, please unmute your microphone and say, hey, Dr. Allen, excuse me, could you please address this question for me? I'd be happy to do that. So I'm going to put a question in the chat window for you. Can you see the syllabus on my computer right now? Is that coming through okay? Okay, great.
Yes.
Thank you very much for the feedback. Appreciate it. Okay, so, well, you know where you're at. You couldn't have shown up if you didn't, but you are signed in right now to our genetics course, section 37841, Introduction to Genetics. We meet Tuesdays and Thursdays, 12:30 to 1:45. When we get on campus, and I'm really hopeful that we will this semester, we'll be meeting in the East Building of the Lancaster campus in room 229. So that's R is our abbreviation for Lancaster, E is for East Building, and it's room 229. So when we get on campus, that's where you'll go for your in-class instruction. I also have a web link here which will give you information about weather events. As we stay remote, we don't have to worry about weather, right? We can zoom in anytime. But when we get back to class, hopefully February, we could still be dealing with some winter weather. So here's a web link that will let you know what the school is planning. If there's going to be a closure, you can go to this web link to get information, okay? My name is Dr. Allen, and my contact information is right here for you, okay? Probably right now, being remote, honestly, email is the best way to get a hold of me. And it gives us a way to asynchronously communicate. Like, I might not be on when you need to talk to me. You might not be on when I need to talk to you. But so email give us a way to do this. When we do get back to campus, my office telephone number is 358-2281, and my office is 206R in the East Building. So hopefully that information will become relevant in a couple weeks. If you really need to talk to someone about something going on and you can't get a hold of me, you can always call our administrative assistant at 358-2983. And, that person can, at the very least, relay a message to me if there's something urgent happening, okay? So that's my contact information, and welcome to class. Office hours, okay? I'll have office hours Monday through Thursday, no office hours on Friday. By office hours, I mean these are established times that I will be online, that you can come visit with me if you have a question or something you need to chat with me about. Here they are: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I will be online unless I have an emergency, such as I have a childcare issue or something like that. I'll be online. You do not need an appointment for these things. You can just pop online. You know, if you pop online and you try to get into office hours and I don't let you in within 10 minutes, that probably means that I'm dealing with something and, you know, we might have to touch base later. Otherwise, I'll be happy to help you, okay? All right, so our course textbook this semester is Concepts of Genetics, the 12th edition. This is what the physical textbook looks like. And this is what you will have digital access to through the Mastering Genetics website, which we'll talk about here this afternoon. We'll also be using some software known as Mathematica to do a little bit of computer programming and introduce ourselves to some topics in computational biology and bioinformatics. Okay, so I'll be talking much more about that later on. In this course, these are the things that you will be graded on. Okay, you will have 3 lecture exams, which are really big, important exams, right? You can see the weight of these exams below, right? The weight of exam 1 is 16%. The weights of exams 2 and 3 are 19%. So what I mean by weight is this. Whatever grade you earn on lecture exam 1, if you earn 87% on lecture exam 1, you've earned a B on the exam. But when it comes to the calculation of your overall course grade, exam 1 will count as 16% of your overall course grade, okay? Same things, same reasoning and logic for exams 2 and 3. So you'll have 3 lecture exams. There will be 12 lab activities. I admit I'm scrambling a little bit because of being forced to go back to remote, so we're not, you know, things aren't as easy as we would like them to be, but you will have 12 lab activities, whether it be in person or online, you will have 12 lab activities. And please note, completion of each awards 1% to your final course grade. And I say that completion of each. You do not have to have perfection here. I'm not looking for every correct answer. The goal with lab is that you're learning, not that you're perfect, okay? So as long as you really do the work, you know, you're going to get most of the credit for lab. The only time I would take off is if you turn in a partially completed lab work, then you would lose some credit, okay? So do your lab work. It's an easy way to earn 1% of your course grade simply by completing a lab assignment. You will, additionally to the lab work, you will have homework assignments, which I'll talk to you about from the Mastering Genetics website. The homework assignments are graded based on a point system, so each question is worth so many points, and depending on how well you do with the homework question, you get so many points. Now with homework through Mastering Genetics, you have about 3 opportunities to get the correct answer. So the homework is not punitive, right? I'm not trying to damage you. I'm trying to encourage your exploration of genetic ideas and your, enrich your understanding of content. So you can get a homework question wrong. The computer will tell you it's wrong, and then you can go back and redo it and submit a new answer and get it right and get credit for it. Okay, so that's how homework will work. You will also have weekly programming assignments in Mathematica, and completion of those awards 1% to your final grade. Again, I'll be looking at how well you're doing with your programming assignment. And as long as you're, as long as you're staying in the group of all students together, you're doing reasonably well. Not that you're getting perfect scores or perfect things, but you're doing reasonably well. You'll get full credit for your programming assignments, okay? So there'll be weekly programming assignments. And then there will be 2 literature reviews. And by literature review, it's a fancy way of saying you're going to read 2 articles that talk about some historical and philosophical components of science as a field. And you're going to answer a series of questions about those articles, okay? Those articles will have questions, and there are some right and wrong questions with those articles. But again, I find that most students do very well with these things. And again, the idea is not to be punitive, but to expand your horizons of what you've possibly ever considered science is as a mechanism of inquiry. Okay, so there you have it, folks. All of these things: lecture exams, lab write-ups, mastering genetics homework, programming assignments, and 2 articles. All of that stuff will be combined into 1 course grade at the end of the semester. Okay. And so, as you may be used to other courses, if you earn an 83% as your final percentage at the end of the semester, you're going to get a B. If you earn a 91%, you're going to get an A. If you earn a 67%, you're going to get a D. Okay. All right. Any questions so far? Okay. So just some information to be aware of here, right? I do put the refund link on the top page of the syllabus. You might be into the semester a couple weeks and think, you know what? With everything going on in my life right now, this just really isn't the moment to be successful in this course. I think I need to drop it. Well, this link will tell you how late into the term you can drop and still maybe get some of your money back. Okay. So that might be something you want to keep track of. Okay. Again, not relevant for remote conversations, but when we do get back to campus, I do like to make students aware of the security telephone numbers, because you never know when a situation is going to come up. But somebody might get sick and you might need to call for help. So the emergency number while you're on the Lancaster campus is 358-2999. The non-emergency number for things like you locked yourself out of your car, you got a dead car battery in the winter, you need a jump start, that would be 358-2996. It can be useful to have that information in your cell phone. Finally, the E2 Campus alert system here. If you're not already signed up for this free service, I want to encourage you to do so. If HAC as an institution needs to communicate with students and employees rapidly, they will send out a text alert through this automated system. You know what's going on. We know that classes are canceled because of snow. We know that something weird's going on up in Harrisburg. Who knows what it might be. This is a really good way to stay in touch with what's happening with our school. So it's free. I encourage you to sign up if you're not already signed up. All right, lecture schedule here. The lecture schedule we'll keep to pretty close. Of course, we might have to change based on circumstances and various stressors of the semester. But I'm only going to spend 1 day on chapter 1, and today I'm already talking about a lot of first day stuff. So I might have to talk about some chapter 1 stuff on Thursday, but I'm not going to talk much about chapter 1 because it's more of a history lesson of the field of genetics. Reading it is very accessible to students. I don't think you need me to tell you about it, okay? So I will give you the first literature review handout on February 1st. The first exam of the semester is February 22nd. Your completed literature review for literature review 1 is on March 1st. The next week, March 8th, you'll get your second article. Okay, so you have several weeks to do the literature reviews is what I'm pointing out. In the middle of March, we're going to have midterm break. It's kind of like spring break, right? And so Tuesday the 15th and 17th of March, we won't have class. Okay, so take note of that, maybe make some plans to go enjoy life a little bit if COVID lets us do it. All right. Exam 2 is on March 31st. April 12th, the second literature review is due. And then your final exam for the entire semester, which is exam 3. So exam 3 is the final exam. It is not cumulative. I won't go out of my way to pull a question out of chapter 1 and throw it on your final exam. That won't happen. Okay. So exam 3, which is your final exam, will be sometime during the week of May 5th through the 11th. As soon as the administration finalizes that schedule, I will let you know, okay? Any questions? All right, pretty standard fare here, right? Just stuff that we have to go over the first day. Okay, our lab schedule. Okay, so our first lab, of course, is this Thursday, and the topic of the lab is going to be Mathematica. I'm going to use a lab to introduce you to this programming environment. It's going to take a couple hours to do that, and we will do it on Thursday, okay? So on your schedule, I've placed some terms, computer lab, expecting us to actually be on campus, right? And so obviously we're remote right now, so that doesn't mean anything, you know, but let's say on February 17th, we are back to campus. I hope so, but I can't predict the future. And so any lab you see the phrase computer lab, that means I need you to go to a computer lab. And the computer lab we use every semester changes a little bit, but let me tell you now, and I'll type this into the chat window, something you want to write down. I'll tell you what the room number of the on-campus computer lab is for our genetics labs. It is East 335. East 335 is our computer lab when we're on campus. Obviously, we're remote right now, so this Thursday we'll be doing lab the best as we can through Zoom. But when we come back, or any labs that are in the computer lab will be East 335. Okay. All right. So, you know, I'll be honest with you. I might have to change our lab sequence this semester, depending on what COVID does to us and how long it forces us to be remote. So just stay alert. I might have to change things. And if I do, I will let you know. For example, this second lab on mitosis and meiosis, I was planning on doing a hands-on activity with you. I can't do it now. I'm not allowed on campus. We're not allowed on campus. So I'm going to have to substitute something, and I'll let you know what I'm substituting, okay? All right. But this is roughly what we'll be doing and roughly how we'll do it. But please stay flexible in terms of, you know, changes that might have to happen. Lab will be on Thursdays at 2:30. They may go to 5 o'clock. They may not go to 5 o'clock. It depends on the activity. And when we are on campus, it will be in room East 218. Okay. Any questions about that? Okay, I do want to draw your attention to something. I sent out the course syllabus, you know, at the beginning of last week, and I did find one typo on the syllabus that I sent out. So if you have your syllabus available, please take a look at April 5th and April 7th, because on the version of the syllabus that was sent to you, on your version of the syllabus from last Monday, I would have had April 5th, chapters 15 and 16. 16 was incorrect in that position. It should be chapter 12. April 5th is chapters 15 and 12. April 7th is chapter 12. So if I'm confusing you, just download the updated syllabus from Mastering Genetics, which I will show you how to do in just a few minutes, okay? So just be aware that there was a typo on the original syllabus that went out last week, and I apologize, but it's going to happen from time to time. Okay, any questions right now? Okay, all right, well, let's continue here. Okay, here we have a textbook homework and programming homework schedule. You know, if you've looked through this, it might seem pretty intensive, and it is, but don't forget, you're doing these things on a weekly basis. So you don't have to worry about what's down here right now. All you have to worry is about what's up here right now, okay? So let me go through this section here that I've highlighted gray on your screen, okay? And after you go through a week or two of this with me, I think the logic of my insanity will be clear to you, and you'll know kind of what I'm asking you to do. And feel free at any time to always ask, right? That's what you should do, is ask if you don't understand what I'm wanting. Okay, so this first week, you're going to get a homework assignment in Mastering Genetics from textbook chapter 1. So out of the Concept of Genetics textbook, there's going to be questions from chapter 1 reading that are presented to you through Mastering Genetics, the online learning system that we're going to talk about soon. Okay, so I am assigning problems and discussions 1 through 17. You don't have to keep track of it. Mastering Genetics, the website, is going to keep track of it for you, and it's going to present it to you and say, here are the questions you need to answer this week, okay? You'll notice with the Mastering Genetics, I've always put like a time indication down, 29 minutes for this first one, 66 minutes for chapter 2, 73 minutes for chapter 3. Those minutes are the textbook publisher's estimation of how long most students will need to answer these questions. So the textbook publisher is saying that they estimate the first questions 1 through 17 of chapter 1 will take your average student about 29 minutes to do. And chapter 2, those questions will take about 66 minutes to do. And chapter 3, that will take about 73 minutes to do. Again, it's an estimation of the time it might take. And I put that on the syllabus so you can start to plan your own schedule accordingly, so that you don't get caught off guard and say, oh my God, I need 3 hours here, okay? I mean, I don't have any assignments that should take 3 hours, but I do have some that will take over an hour just for the homework problems, okay? So the Mastering Genetics problems that are assigned now are not due this Thursday, they're due the following Thursday, okay? So we're just getting into the course, we're just getting comfortable with the technology. So I did not want to make an assignment due this week. I think that's too rushed, but we'll make an assignment due a week from this Thursday, okay? So your Mastering Genetics homework from chapter 1 will be due a week from this Thursday. And in addition to that, you will have a Mathematica assignment where you're going to, and I'm going to show you all of this on Thursday during lab. I'm going to show you how to do this. I'm going to show you how to access it. It's not a problem, but we do need to work through this so you understand. So the Mathematica assignments will be accessed online through your Mathematica account. You will access content in a free textbook called Elementary Introduction to the Wolfram Language, so you're not paying for any additional content. And you'll do programming activities 4.1 to 4.7. And in addition to that, there's a biology-related challenge that I have in the Mathematica assignment to challenge your abilities to start thinking about using Mathematica to analyze biology. That's the whole point here, okay? So that's basically how you read your homework schedule. And I would say, read the schedule maybe 2 weeks at a time so you're not caught off guard on anything. But, you only have 1 week worth of content that's actually due basically every week. So nothing due this week, but the first homework assignment right here is due on the 27th. The second homework assignment will be due on February 3rd, okay? So we're going to go on a weekly basis. I'll also point something else out. To keep the workload of the course balanced, what I've tried to do is make it so that the due dates for your lab work are on Tuesdays. So every Tuesday, you will have lab work that is due to me. So this Thursday, we're going to do a lab in Mathematica. And after the weekend, next Tuesday, that work is due to me. So your lab work is due on Tuesdays, always on a Tuesday. And your actual homework from the textbook in mastering genetics, as well as programming work, is due on a Thursday. So lab work due on a Tuesday. Homework and programming due on a Thursday. That way we don't have everything getting shoved together on one day, and hopefully that makes it a little bit more reasonable to you. Okay, so gang, do you have any questions right now? Okay, let's get the rest of this taken care of, and then we can talk about the meat of the course here. Okay, so all right, so this is the homework schedule for the entire semester. Okay, I will point out and let you read this on your own time that I do include some tips on using Mathematica online. Don't worry about it. We're going to cover all this stuff on Thursday. Thursday will be your hands-on introduction to Mathematica. And you can all excel at this. You can all succeed at this, okay? So don't let it scare you. So I have information about how to use Mathematica here. You know, if there's something that's not clear, you can definitely read this. And if it's still not clear, you can get a hold of me. I also have information about how you submit your programming homework for credit. Again, we're going to go over this on Thursday. It's all going to be covered on Thursday. But if you forget something or don't understand, please go to your syllabus. There is help there. Okay, there is help there to help you understand what to do. Okay. And then, well, here's some classroom policies. I'll go over this quick. You know, these basically don't mean anything when we're remote, because you know, you can do what you want in your private home, in your personal workspace. It's only when we get to on-campus things that the rules start to really apply. But since we may do that, hopefully in a couple of weeks, let me just mention these things. You know, attendance is mandatory. And what I mean by that is not to be punitive. If you're not in class, I'm not going to come knocking on your front door and say, hey, Joe, why weren't you in class? No, of course, I'm not going to do that. But you appreciate that being in class allows you to be part of the course conversation, allows you to not miss important pieces of information, and generally ensures that you'll be more successful than if you're missing class. Okay. Now, with exams, if you do miss an exam, I do require that you contact me within 24 hours to let me know why you missed the exam. Now, of course, if something very serious has happened, and God forbid you're in the hospital unconscious, I'm going to cut you some slack, right? I mean, if you can't contact me because of a medical emergency, fine, we'll deal with it when you feel better. But if you miss an exam, please contact me within 24 hours, or I will assume that you want a grade of 0 to be assigned to the grade book, okay? So please just stay in touch with me and there'll be no problem. All right, number 2, cheating on exams is wrong. We know that, but as human beings, well, we're not perfect, and I'm not either, okay? We do things we shouldn't do when we're stressed out, okay? I had an issue last semester online with some microbiology students that plagiarized, and it was a very clear-cut case of plagiarism, and that's a big problem, right? We can't be doing these things. So, you know, get your education the honest way. Your future employer and people that you support with your work will appreciate that, okay? All right, so classroom behavior, you know, when we do get back to class, because your textbook is digital, I am totally okay with you bringing laptop computers and tablets into the classroom to access your textbook. I want you to do that because I won't always have the ability to display the textbook on the screen. I won't always be able to do that. So bring your laptops, bring your tablets into class and use them for class content. Don't use them for accessing your Twitter account during class, right? That's not an appropriate use of technology during class, okay? All right, so enough said about that. Withdrawing from the course. You have the right to withdraw from this course and get a W on your transcript instead of perhaps a worse grade like an F, up to the 70% completion date, which, you know, is probably early April timeframe for the 70% completion date. You have the right to do that. You don't need my permission to do that, so please be aware of that. Incomplete grades, I do not award incomplete grades for any reason. Even if you're sick, I'm not going to award an incomplete grade. Okay, so you know, if you have something going in your life that's difficult, please come talk to me about that, and we will make arrangements for you to complete the semester without getting an I grade. Okay, so I'm just letting you know my policies on that. In terms of lab, again, we're online, so it doesn't matter much. If you want to have, you know, some coffee or Coke on your personal workstation, go ahead. But when we get on the campus, you know, I would ask you please not to bring food or drink into the lab. The lab's going to be, well, sometimes it'll be a computer lab, and we certainly don't want liquids being dropped onto the computer keyboards and things like this. And in the actual biology lab, we don't want you to get in the habit of consuming any food items when, you know, we handle all kinds of bacteria and fungi and things like that in the lab. We don't want you putting stuff in your mouth. That's just, you know, a really bad habit to do that. Finally, lecture recordings. You know, I'm going to record the Zoom lectures for you so that you know what to expect right now. But what, you know, when we get back to school face to face, if you want to record lectures for your private study time, that's okay with me. I don't have a problem with that. Okay. All right. Gang, do you have any questions about any of these classroom policies? Pretty standard stuff. If there's a personal concern, come chat with me. We'll work that out. Okay, we'll work it out. All right, how do you succeed in class? Well, mastering genetics, which I'm going to show you about in just a few moments, has some really good resources in for learning. Okay, I don't mind telling you that this is honestly the first semester that I'm using mastering genetics, and primarily because of the need to deal with COVID issues. Okay, so you know, we might have some bumps along the highway, but we'll get through that together. Other resources, obviously, YouTube is excellent for videos. There are some excellent videos that I'll draw your attention to through the semester that can help, you know, help make it less boring than listening to me talk at you for an hour and 15 minutes. Okay. Vocab is very important. You know, most of you, well, all of you have been in college courses of various kinds. You've had some measure of academic success, or you wouldn't be in this course. So I expect that you do already have a system of studying in place that works for you. Stay with it. You know, make sure you have a system in place for vocab. A lot of people like to use flashcards. Whatever works for you, that's fine. Okay. You do want to keep a scientific calculator handy at all times. Obviously, in the remote setting, you probably have a calculator on your computer, right? So for example, if I click my calculator, I'm running a Windows machine. There's a scientific calculator. I got what I need. You probably have something similar on your computer. If you don't, you're going to want to have a scientific calculator. Now, that being said, anytime you have access to a computer and the internet, you will have access to Mathematica, and Mathematica can do anything and much, much more than any scientific calculator can do. Okay, but let me say this, on exams, on exams, you won't traditionally have access to Mathematica, so it's really a good idea to have a scientific calculator available. There will be times when you need to use it, okay? Obviously, completing your homework is key to success in this course. Not only does it give you credit towards your grade because you've done the homework, it allows you to begin to understand content so that you can do better on exams. So, right, that's a no-brainer kind of thing. Read the next chapter prior to coming to class, and perhaps reread the chapter after we've covered it in class. What I'm trying to suggest is iterating over the content numerous times is a way to get to have success in the course. Please don't be afraid to ask questions. That's why we're here. I guarantee you there will be things that you can ask me that I can't answer off the top of my head. Genetics is a very complicated topic, and there are of course many topics in genetics which nobody on the face of the planet really knows the answer to, because we just don't know. All right. And if we stumble upon those kinds of questions, I will try to push you in the right direction where you might be able to discover some things, but we may never get a satisfying answer because, again, nobody knows. Now, I do encourage students to use tutoring at HACC. I will say that the tutoring we have available for this course, genetics, is very limited. Okay, this for HACC as an undergraduate institution, first 2 years of the curriculum, we do not have robust tutoring in place for this course because not many students take genetics. I mean, that's just being truthful. Not many students take genetics because many students want to go off and be nurses or, dental hygienists and things like that. And they don't need genetics for their undergraduate education. So we don't have the tutoring that we would have for a course like anatomy and physiology. That being said, you can reach out to the tutoring section. There are some tutors that are willing to wrestle genetic content with you. And of course, you can always reach out to me, come talk to me about things that are bothering you, and we can wrestle through it together, okay? And finally, activate and use your Hawkmill account. If you made it online, well, you already have it active, right? Because I sent you an email to your Hawk account, so you're in good shape. Okay, we're almost done with this first day stuff, folks. Next in the syllabus is the course description. This tells you the kind of topics we will talk about in this course. We will talk about classical Mendelian genetics. We will talk about statistical hypothesis testing, probability theory. We will talk about molecular genetics. We will talk about more modern things with genomes, like the Human Genome Project. Okay, so you'll get a little bit of everything as we transition through the entire semester. Okay, let's see here. All right, students in need of accommodations. If you yourself, need an accommodation, well, what would an accommodation be? An accommodation might be that you have a learning disability such as dyslexia, right? And in such cases, reading content is hard for you because you're just a little bit slower because of your dyslexia. Then I can give you additional time on exams to complete your work. Okay, so that's what a typical accommodation would be. If you feel that you need that kind of accommodation, if you feel like you could medically justify that kind of accommodation, please reach out to our student services folks. I have all the contact information down here, right? For the Lancaster campus, it's Vicki Van Heist. She's the Director of Student Access Services. Her telephone number and emails here. If you feel that you would benefit from that kind of thing, please start a conversation with Vicki, and she'll take you through the process, okay? All right. And finally, just a statement about equal opportunity. The idea that, here at HACC, we don't go out of our way to bias or prejudice ourselves against you. It doesn't matter what your skin color is, what your gender is, what your belief systems are. I truly don't care. What we're going to try to achieve here is a basic level of understanding in undergraduate genetics. That's what we're going to do, okay? All right. So I believe this covers the syllabus, gang, and I'm sorry it's always long-winded, but something that has to take place the first day of the semester. So do you have any questions right now about things that have popped up on the syllabus? All right. Okay, please let me know if you do. Okay, so now what we're going to do next is I want to give you a time to say hi to each other, right? If we were in the classroom, you could have said hi to each other before we even started the class. But I'd like you to say hi to each other, introduce yourselves, get to know each other. Maybe you make a friend that you can have a study partnership with. Okay, that's the idea here, is that you don't feel isolated going through this, because that's a horrible place to be, is to be isolated. We are kind of isolated, right? We're all in our cocoons here because of COVID, but I don't want you to feel that way. So I'm going to put us into a couple breakout rooms where you're going to be with a few other people. As an icebreaker, just say hi, just introduce yourself. If you want an icebreaker, tell everybody your favorite cartoon character. My favorite cartoon character, well, I'm fond of Bugs Bunny and Popeye. And that shows you when I grew up, right? Okay. So just say hi to each other for a couple minutes. Then we'll bring you back and we'll continue our conversation. Okay. So just give me a second. I'm going to pause the recording. Okay. So you've had an opportunity to say hi to at least a couple people. Hopefully, as the weeks unfold, you'll get to meet many more people. So, I truly hope we can get on campus soon. Okay, so I'm going to show you some of the electronic resources that we're going to use this semester. But anything you'd like to talk about before I do that? Okay. All right, so let me share my screen. And let me just talk about, Mathematica a little bit. Okay, so let me ask a question in the chat window. I appreciate that you may not have accomplished this yet, but I'm just going to ask, have you purchased access to Mathematica online? Have you done that? Okay, all right. Okay, so folks, it's very important that you do that for this Thursday, right? Because I need you to have access to Mathematica this Thursday. Otherwise, you can't do the lab, okay? So please sign up for Mathematica online. Okay, and so let me just bring this up in the web browser here, right? So your syllabus has the information you need here. There we go. Okay. So when you use the link that's been provided through email or on your syllabus, it'll bring you to this web page, Mathematica for Students. And what I need you to do is to sign up for this Student Cloud one right here. It's $9 a month. Okay, so I'm hopeful that that's not too much of an economic burden. $9 a month is, a couple cups of coffee these days at your coffee shop. So please sign up for this. This is what you're going to need to be able to access for Thursday's lab. Okay, so I'll let you deal with that. This will give you access to an ecosystem of computer computation called Mathematica, which is Mathematica is a scientific computing application which gives you access to a full computer language designed to support engineering and science topics. And it's been built over the past 30 years by a company known as Wolfram. And this is what their main website looks like, okay? So right now, it's probably all new to you. On Thursday, we'll start getting you up to speed and how to use this, okay? All right, so that's Mathematica. And again, please create an account, get that set up for Thursday's class. Okay, so any questions about that? Okay. Let me bring up Mastering Genetics. Okay, Mastering Genetics. So Mastering Genetics is going to look something like this here. Okay, so I know that not everybody has created their Mastering Genetics account yet. I mean, I can tell that because I can see who's in the system and who's not in the system. So I want to encourage you to please register for your Mastering Genetics. Instructions to do that were sent out early last week. And so the basic idea here is you go in to My Hack, go to D2L, open up the genetics course inside D2L, and you look for a link which is something like Red Shelf, REDSHELF, Red Shelf Textbook Access. You click that link and it'll give you an access code for the Mastering Genetics product. Okay, and then you go to Mastering Genetics using this PDF document that I emailed to everybody, right? And you will enter the access code that you got on D2L to gain access to this product, which is a Pearson product. The textbook publisher Pearson creates and maintains the Mastering Genetics learning system. It's a cloud-based product, right? It's a cloud-based product. Okay, so do you have any questions about what you need to do in terms of the process of getting access to Mastering Genetics? Anything you'd like to ask? Okay, several of you have already logged in, and I know you're successful, so I believe the system's working correctly. So, you know, please get your access code in D2L, and then please use that to create your Pearson account here with this Mastering Genetics PDF that was sent through email. If you don't have this information, or you've lost it or whatever, send me an email, tdallen@hack.edu, and I'll forward the information again to you, okay? All right, so that's what you need to gain access to Mastering Genetics. Once you have access to Mastering Genetics, there's some things we should talk about. Okay, so the first thing I'll mention is your Mastering Genetics might look, undoubtedly will look a little different from mine, since, you know, I'm in there as the instructor and you're in there as the student. But you should find, if you're logged into Mastering Genetics, you should find the study area along the left side column of tabs. There's a study area. So I'm going to open that up. Okay, launch the study area. Okay, and so here are the student resources for studying in the course. So let me ask, for those of you that are logged into Mastering Genetics, for those of you that have an account set up, okay, okay, for those of you that are in the system, do you see the study area in Mastering Genetics? Are you able to see it and identify it? Okay, great. So you can see we're getting some yeses here. Okay, so you know, you can play around with this, and I encourage you to do that. Obviously, one of the biggest things is the electronic text. So you have by registering for this course, you have purchased digital access to the textbook. So if I click on e-text, okay, it's going to open up the e-text. Hopefully you have a decent internet connection, right? And there we are, where we go. Okay, Introduction to Genetics, the structure of DNA and RNA, all this kind of good stuff, okay? So the textbook should be accessible to you. So, I don't want to belabor the point, but I do want to be sure the tools and technology are working and not causing a problem. So again, for those that have access to Mastering Genetics, can you access your digital textbook? That's what I wanted to say. Can you access your digital textbook? Okay. So Jade says yes. Everybody else that can do it? Okay, good. All right, so let me say something to you. You might be 3 weeks into the semester and you might say to yourself, you know what? I'm starting to realize I really do not like reading a textbook on my computer. That's true for some folks. Not everybody enjoys reading a digital textbook on a computer. I know personally I don't. I want a physical book, okay? But obviously that costs a lot of money to have a physical book. I will tell you that the Hack Bookstore is currently, has placed an order for some limited physical textbooks, loose leaf print, to be stocked. So if you really find that you hate reading the digital textbook, you should be able to get a physical printed book from the Hack Bookstore in a week or two, hopefully at a reduced cost, $35, $40, $45 for the loose leaf edition of the book. Okay. All right. So at any rate, at any rate, that was the student resources there that you have access to. I will point out, BioFlix is very nice because it has some nice animations you can use to study some things, like mitosis, meiosis, all these sorts of things can be useful. I will definitely supplement these things with some videos that I know of from YouTube that I think might do a better job. But nonetheless, there are some animation resources here available to you. Also, there's this Exploring Genomics section you may find in your homework. So let's go to the syllabus here. All right. For example, Chapter 2, textbook, Exploring Genomics. I want you to do the Exploring Genomics for Chapter 2, and I want you to put the answers into Mathematica. I'll show you how to do that stuff on Thursday. So, okay, I need Exploring Genomics from Chapter 2 from the Mastering Genetics website. So I'll go to Student Resources, Exploring Genomics. Oh, Chapter 2, PubMed, Exploring and Retrieving Biomedical Literature. So you open it up, maybe you read it, maybe you print it for yourself at your house. It's up to you, right? But then you want to go through this activity and put your work in Mathematica, which once you go through Thursday, it'll be easy for you to do, okay? All right. So let me ask in the chat window. Does it make sense how to get the Exploring Genomics activities? Do you see how I did that? Okay, any questions? Do you want me to do it again? Okay, all right. Any questions? All right. Okay, so, what I'm saying is everything is here. It's pretty logically organized, you folks are probably more computer savvy in many ways than I am. So I think you'll have success with this. All right. So I'll leave you to peruse these sorts of resources on your own. My primary goal today is that you can access the electronic textbook, and I've showed you how to do that. Okay, let's keep rolling here. Back on mastering genetics, there's some other things. Okay, so under course tools, you're going to find discussions. Under course tools, discussions. I want to highlight this, and I'm watching my time here. And sorry, my sloppy typing here. Course tools discussions. If I go to discussions, I want to point some things out. There are links here. First off, there's a course Dropbox link. That's inside course tools discussion. For some of our homework assignments, particularly as we stay remote, there'll be some PDF documents that you have to fill out and complete and write up for me. So how you would submit them to me for completion and for credit would be to go to the course tools discussion, the course Dropbox link. If I click this, it's going to open this. Todd Allen, that's me, sent you this request. You can add files here, so then you can add your work that you've done, and I can look at it and give you a grade for it, okay? So that's the course Dropbox. I also intend to put links to lecture recordings here. So again, under course tools discussion, there will be lecture recording links. I will put the lecture recording for today in here later this afternoon. Since we're remote right now, you know, some of the work you'll do, you might have to print out a PDF document at home and write out some answers, and then you're going to have to scan it in some way and send it back to me. You probably all know how to do that, and you might have your own scanners and things at home. But if you don't, and you don't know how to do that, then you're going to want to access Adobe Scan. Adobe Scan is a free application you can get on your cell phone. You can use the camera of your cell phone to take pictures of documents. The photograph you take is then converted into a PDF file by the software, and then you can use that to create PDFs of your completed homework or lab assignments and put your work in the course Dropbox. Okay, so Adobe Scan looks like this. Okay, get the free mobile application right there for you. Okay, so I know this is a lot of stuff quickly. I just want to share with you that it exists. You know, as you seek to use it, if you run into trouble, get a hold of me. We'll work that out together so you don't have trouble. And then the last thing is that in the discussions area, if you yourself want to start a discussion question about a topic or homework assignment that you're struggling with, you can do that, right? Just as an example, I'll just put an example here. Okay, I need help with question 9 in chapter 16. Here's what I understand. Here's what I don't understand. And then everybody in the class can respond to this, not just me. I mean, I will, but everybody can help everybody else if you want to be part of this conversation. So I would encourage you, if you come up with some particularly prickly, difficult homework questions, then maybe you put a discussion item up on the discussion board and maybe folks can help each other. I mean, we're here to learn. We're not here to stay in the dark about things. So consider doing that if you want. Okay, I do want to be respectful of time, but let me show you some other things. So I've shown you those items. There's also a document sharing area. The document sharing area will contain various things. The first thing it's showing you is the course syllabus, and this is the updated syllabus with that typo corrected. So if you just want to download that, you'll have the correct thing. Also, I've already placed Mathematica notebooks for lab, which we will use somewhat on Thursday, and I'll show you how to use them, but here they are. There's Mathematica notebooks for homework. Whew, look at all them. It's going to be glorious, isn't it? But remember, folks, you're going to do this through the entire semester. It's not all due next week, so don't stress out. But most of the files you're going to need is going to be in the document sharing portal of Mastering Genetics. We have PDF files for lab, and we have lecture notes that I'll also put in here as well. Okay, so I'm not giving any lecture notes today, so you're not going to get anything, but Thursday there'll be lecture notes. All right. So you have a quick link to the digital text. That's the e-text. The scores are going to be for your homework. All right, so let's go back to the course home and talk about homework. You know from your syllabus that there's a whole bunch of homework. Nothing due this week. Your first homework is due next week, next Thursday. So if I show you all the assignments, here's what they are. Here's all the assignments that are due. Okay. And so, for example, chapter 1 has some homework assignments. So I'll just click on that, right? This is going to tell you, what you have to do. It's going to give you the questions and allow you to submit them. And again, the estimate of time to do the work, which again, you might end up needing an hour and 15 minutes. Someone else might need 25 minutes. Who knows? It's a very personal thing that you'll go through this and do your best to solve the problems. Now, some of the things you're going to have to do, undoubtedly, is you're going to have some notebook paper near you, because you're going to have to diagram some things out, write some things out, sketch some things out, do some calculations to get the answer you're going to submit into the website, right? So you're going to need definitely work paper to do this. And honestly, I would encourage you to have a notebook that's just your working notebook for solving homework problems. And don't throw it away. Don't do the work and then submit an answer and throw it away, because maybe you got the answer wrong and you need to go back and look at your work. Maybe you want to go back and look at some of the problems as a review for what you might think could potentially be on an exam. So don't do all the work and throw it out. Keep it nice and organized so that you can access it throughout the semester, okay? So I don't know, I'll just pop up one question here, okay? Describe Mendel's conclusions about how traits are passed from generation to generation, okay? So obviously you may not be able to answer that now, but after reading the first chapter, you should be in a much better position to answer that kind of thing, okay? So, all right. We are basically out of time, but let me just ask you, are there any questions you have right now? Okay, so the most important thing is that for Thursday, you get access to Mathematica. And for Thursday, you definitely have an account with Mastering Genetics, and you're identifying how to access your textbook and start your homework assignments. Okay, that's really the most important things that have to happen for Thursday. So anything else before we sign off today? Okay, folks, I'm sorry we didn't get to any content, but I promise we will on Thursday. So have a very nice afternoon, and I'll see you then, okay? Bye-bye.
See you later, Professor.
Bye-bye, Terrell.